Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we take a look at the astrological energies from October 2nd until October 9th. And how is this eclipse energy treating you? Because we are in it and the energy continues throughout all of October. Yes, we are moving through more of the dips and the highs and the lows and the twists and the turns and the switchbacks. You could be feeling nauseous right now from all of the energies that are moving and swirling around. And yet in the divine order, it's right on time. It's giving us messages and information that we're meant to know, we're meant to work with, we're meant to see. So if you can go higher into your divine self that is holding you in peace, in grace, and in trust, that can help you navigate these very big energies of October. Now, on September 30th, I did a podcast episode for you discussing the main energies of October. And in today's show, we focus on the energies of the next week. And so as I record this, we are experiencing the Libra Solar Eclipse, which I will discuss here in just a moment. And then we're going to go through the other astrological energies unfolding, including a water grand trine that is assisting us in movement, flow, trust, and allowing a process to move us ahead. We also have Jupiter stationing retrograde over this next week, an active Mercury in Libra, as well as Chiron retrograde in Aries, entering into an important conversation with Jupiter starting now. So let's begin by looking at this Libra solar eclipse at 10 degrees in your chart. It is exact on Wednesday, October 2nd at 2:48 p.m. Eastern Time. And we've got a lot going on in this eclipse in the Libra areas of your chart where the sun and the moon are conjunct, of course, because this is a new moon. Plus, we've got Mercury right there at 11 degrees, 32 minutes. We also have Black Moon Lilith at 10 degrees of Libra. That is an important imprint of this particular solar eclipse. And then we also have the South Node at 6 degrees, 38 minutes of Libra. So between 6 degrees to 12 degrees of Libra in your chart is where this solar eclipse is activating changes, redirections, letting go, new options, and closing out old or previous choices. And all of this connects to relationships, partnerships, sharing, giving, receiving, the people in your world that you interact with, especially one-on-one, which is a Libra trait. So more specifically, this energy is showing you what is complete and needs to end, what is changing perhaps quite rapidly and unexpectedly. That's often how eclipses work. Eclipses bring up significant timeline shifts that show you what is over and complete, and then you do that quick redirect, or something occurs that requires you to make a new choice, see things in a different way, perhaps get to the truth of a dynamic, a relationship, a partnership, friendship, and allow that to be a message that you fully hear and understand. Now, with Mercury in the mix, that means more is being said, bigger communications, more messages, more information coming around and being discussed. And it means changes, as well as new starts. Mercury activates what we need to say and express. And with these energies conjunct Black Moon Lilith, that means it brings up what we really feel. And so this can be more of a fierce energy, more comes to the surface that you didn't realize was underneath. And I think that's a big theme with this particular solar eclipse, because Black Moon Lilith represents the energies that we're not always consciously aware of, especially in our emotional body, connected to our feelings and what we've kept hidden or kept within ourselves. And when Black Moon Lilith is heavily focused, especially in an eclipse, it comes out and it's not pretty. It's more hissing and growling, and this is what I really feel about you, or this is what I really think is going on. It digs into parts of ourselves that we've been out of touch with, so that energy can rise to the surface, be seen, acknowledged, felt, and understood, as well as accepted that there is absolutely a time and a place for those parts of yourself to be expressed. So I feel that this particular Libra solar eclipse is working with deeper energies within us that we didn't realize were there, but are supporting us in making new choices. And choices is also another theme with strong Libra. What choices are coming up for you that are so evident and clear? What choices are you leaving behind? And that's part of the connection to the South Node. What is done and complete? What is fading out? What are you no longer wanting to be connected to or involved in? And these are choices that will be spoken and communicated, again, with that strong Mercury there. And that could be some uncomfortable conversations, some unexpected developments. There are changes happening in the Libra areas of your chart. And it's interesting because going to the bigger purpose of it all, it's time to allow the endings to happen. It's time to be complete with something. And this will depend on where you have 10 degrees of Libra in your chart, where the universe is giving you a very clear message that there's no longer a path ahead in this energy field. And you already know it and you feel it. And maybe feeling it is part of that deeper discomfort. But we're being required to grow. This is an evolutionary growth where we raise the bar within ourselves. And that, of course, affects how we connect and interact with other people. So you raise the bar and you realize who falls away, who can't meet you there, who is not an equal. And this is something that's important in Libra. It is about equal connections. It's about the people who meet you on equal footing. The energetic connection is the same, and there's a sense of we are in this together. And so it will be evident as well where you're not on the same page with people, and I feel that that's the bigger theme. In fact, you could even feel within yourself, where have I been too nice, too accommodating, too concerned about the other? Where have I been wanting to maintain the peace? And I realize that has left me with a lack of peace within myself. So there's a reprioritizing here where you're seeking peace. If you're looking for calm and peace and harmony, seek it within yourself first instead of going outside of yourself to make another happy or to please another, if this is a habit or pattern that is detrimental to you. And with the North Node in the opposite sign of Aries, this is about stepping into greater independence, courage, and self-leadership, leading yourself to that higher ground, choosing that higher path that you're ready for, and understanding that part of these separations are a gift to everyone involved. The separations allow people to then follow what is suitable for them next. It's allowing them to make their next choices while you make your next choices. And who knows, further down the line, maybe you're both in the same energy field again and the energies connect. But at this time, separations are very significant and are meant to be honored. It feels quite clear-cut even because it's the separations that will also allow the growth. The growth, again, for the best and highest of everyone involved. Now, in addition to the strong focus on the Libra energy, I want to bring your attention to Venus at 11 degrees 46 minutes of Scorpio in your chart. She is important here because she's the ruler of all 5 of those energies in Libra. So for all the ways Libra wants to talk it out and get the information and make a wise, rational decision, here you have Venus in Scorpio really digging in with passion and conviction about what she wants. No compromises, not going to even be afraid of another person's emotions or feelings. And she's going to be very strong in what is true for her because she's facing her fears. Venus in Scorpio is facing a fear, but she has beautiful support through the water grand trine with Mars in Cancer at 15 degrees 46 minutes and Saturn in Pisces retrograde at 14 degrees. Now, this is a water grand trine that is going to be in motion until October 8th. So for this next week, Venus in Scorpio will be making an exact trine to Saturn retrograde in Pisces at 14 degrees on October 4th, then make an exact trine to Mars in Cancer at 18 degrees on October 8th. This means that with a water grand trine, our intuition is activated at a whole new level. The emotional flow is open and things are moving. When there's a water grand trine, you have these 3 different points in a chart that are connected, and that means new options show up as the energy moves. So it doesn't get stuck, it continues to circle. It continues to connect to the next possibility, the next feeling, the next choice. There is a flow here that is actually going to open up more of what you're ready to receive and trust. And this is quite supportive. It also means our emotional bodies are activated and alive. And there could be more that you want to do, especially with the water element, to support that ongoing flow. There could be a need for greater privacy and time to yourself because these energies are highly receptive. And you might find that when you're alone, you get new messages, you get new downloads and options and solutions. You could feel that there has been a very powerful activation of your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, your claircognizance. You could feel that something is coming online for you now that is also more connected to your heart, which is part of what the water element rules. So there is a heart activation here that draws you out of the mind and draws you out of that strong Libra focus. And this can be a pivotal shift where you might realize where you were too mind heavy or too much in your head using a lot of logic and rationale, and it was keeping you disconnected from a powerful flow of wisdom related to your intuition, your spiritual growth, trusting yourself, and even deeper connections. And that's because the water element wants connection, wants authentic, real connections, wants to really know what you're feeling, and then wants to meet others in that space. This particular solar eclipse can open up deeper connections when you're real, you're honest, you're raw, you're vulnerable, you're more willing to share what's going on within you and within your heart space. And I feel this is part of the changes that are coming in with the Libra solar eclipse. And again, it unfolds into the middle of October. Now, something to keep in mind here, going back to the Libra themes of partnerships, relationships, connections, interactions, because Libra is an air sign and is very conversational, charismatic, intelligent, logical, social, the energy of those connections can be stuck in the head. So think of this as having a very good business mind, where you're good with the logic of things and understanding the effects and maybe looking at strategy and business decisions and choices and what are the best developments we can make next. All of that is beautiful in a professional environment. However, when you think about what you bring to the table professionally through the strengths of the mind, those are actually the qualities that are not as valued or needed in personal connections, in personal friendships, in love-based interactions, in partnerships, and in dealings with other people in your life that you care about. Those connections are based on more openness, more heart connections, shared values, shared passions, shared priorities. Those are not about the mind. They're rather more about the wholeness of who you are and allowing others to know you more fully. So this reset in the Libra areas of your life and in your chart are asking you to be more conscious around how you connect with others. If it's truly satisfying, if it's truly based on your authentic self and who you are now, if it's based on those shared values and the parts of yourself that you're willing to open up and share. so others can get to know you better. And that's where you might be surprised at the developments that unfold as this Libra solar eclipse energy moves through October. Now, also in this energy field, we have Mercury in Libra squaring Mars in Cancer on October 5th. This is exact at 16 degrees, but it's an energy in the chart. So keep in mind that what we're looking at here are energies of the Libra solar eclipse that basically unfold throughout the whole week. So what is happening is going to take time to move through because the planets are all engaged in this conversation on October 2nd that continues for a week. So October 5th is the exact square from Mars in Cancer. And with Mercury and Mars in a square, there can be difficulty expressing what you feel, saying what's really on your mind. That Mars in Cancer will hesitate and can be too receptive to what other people think. So there could be a sense of, do I say it? Do I not? Do I express myself? I don't know. Biting the tongue and holding back the energy is actually part of this square. But then with Mars, if there's a trigger, if there's that wrong word or that one thing that is said, then Mars in Cancer unleashes what he's really feeling and it comes out strong. So I feel that there could be difficulty here in understanding how to temper what that Mercury in Libra is thinking and needing with what that Mars in Cancer is truly sensing and feeling. So in more simple terms, this is the battle between the head and the heart. And the higher path is not to go into battle, but to integrate them together so that that Mars in Cancer feels heard and that Mercury in Libra feels understood. So this could be a time when you are watching your words, giving yourself a break or a pause in order to be more intentional with what you say and how it may be received. Now, October 8th is when the energy shifts as Venus in Scorpio makes an exact trine to Mars in Cancer. This occurs at 18 degrees and helps that Mars move through what he's been holding in and holding back. Because Venus in Scorpio shows up and says, just tell me how you're really feeling. What's the truth? Let's get in there. Don't hold back. And this supports releasing anything that needs to be truly felt. And on the same day, Mercury in Libra trines Jupiter in Gemini at 21 degrees and then opposes Chiron retrograde in Aries at 21 degrees. So Mercury, the messenger, is receiving a supportive trine from Jupiter and Gemini. This is good news and a development. And the opposition from Chiron in Aries is showing you the other side of a story, more information that was blocked or perhaps wasn't really expressed because it's so sensitive. That Chiron in Aries is a very sensitive energy point because it represents what we're healing, and the retrograde means we need more time and space to heal it on our own terms, to sit with it, to process it, to allow the energy to work its way through us in order to get to a deeper understanding of it. So October 8th, with Mercury in Libra trining Jupiter and opposing Chiron, there's a message or information that shows up that provides understanding, asks you to be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can. That's all you can expect of yourself. And it also has something beneficial or positive brought in. So I feel that October 8th is going to be a turning point into that next part of yourself that's ready for a different choice, a different option. It could be easier to hear what another person has to say because now that Mercury and Mars are no longer in a square and they're receiving support from other planets that allows for whatever was blocked or stagnant to be opened up and released. With all three planets at 21 degrees, this degree point is heavily emphasized. So if in your chart you have planets or points at 21 degrees of the air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or 21 degrees of the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, then this energy is working with you more personally around information, next steps, choices, decisions, communications, and hopefully good news and beneficial developments. And I also want to emphasize this 21 degree point because it's where Jupiter in Gemini and Chiron in Aries are both going to be traveling together through a sextile for 3 weeks at this particular degree point. Jupiter stations retrograde on October 9th at 21 degrees Gemini, 20 minutes. So what you want to do is identify in your chart where you have 21 degrees of Gemini by house placement, as Jupiter is hanging out there, bringing in some big messages. When Jupiter stations retrograde, there is a big ripple effect and reverberation that occurs. Think of the biggest planet in our solar system standing still, making a declaration or giving a message, really activating those communication skills, those Gemini qualities. And because of the lack of motion there, the energy is even stronger. And so Jupiter is giving you a clear message this week that you're meant to hear. Jupiter in Gemini is delivering and wanting to ensure that you're receiving something that's coming through Gemini themes. And part of the station retrograde is to integrate it. Now, Gemini doesn't want to stand still. Gemini is restless. Let's go. Let's do all the things. Why aren't we there yet? How about going over here? It's a fast-moving energy. This is requiring a deep breath, intentional listening, and a necessary pause so that you can hear what Jupiter is delivering to you, especially this week. And now this Jupiter is syncing up with Chiron retrograde in Aries at 21 degrees. So that's the second area of your chart you want to identify. The first is where you have 21 degrees of Gemini. The second is where you have 21 degrees of Aries, because these two houses in your chart are now connected through a supportive sextile that brings in new realizations around these Aries themes that you're healing. Now, Jupiter is offering you something you maybe overlooked the first time or you didn't see clearly. Maybe you missed it in the details. And this is an integration period between Jupiter in Gemini and Chiron in Aries, both retrograde, both at 21 degrees, wanting you to fully absorb and understand something that is essential for your healing path, your sense of self, understanding what is good for your soul right now, what is good for your energy, your emotions, your sense of self. And these two will travel together at 21 degrees for 3 weeks in October, but then they maintain a sextile through 20 and 19 degrees until the middle of November. So for a month and a half, Jupiter and Chiron are working together to solve something for you. And they're going to bring in options. That's how Jupiter and Gemini works. Jupiter in Gemini is also asking you to really look at your belief systems, to really look at how you see things, how you're talking about it, and to ensure that you're truly walking the talk. Because it can be really easy to say one thing or think one thing and then realize, I'm not even practicing that. I'm not even doing that. But as soon as that realization occurs, and it clicks for you, it directs the energy to this Chiron in Aries, and there's a boost of support and understanding. It's almost like you're getting a new dose of medicine, a new healing ointment or remedy comes through. And that could be quite literally, you get something that you've been waiting on that supports what you're healing and moving through. And here we have this unfolding for 6 weeks. So again, you're looking at the two houses in your chart that have 21 degrees of Gemini, 21 degrees of Aries. These two houses are now connected. They're in a very active conversation. These are the two areas of your life where the developments are occurring that support you with next steps, new potentials, new chapters in your life, new directions you want to go, and realizing the plans, details, specifics, ideas to get there. Jupiter stationing retrograde in Gemini is also this realignment of our belief systems that not only shows us where we're not walking the talk, but it can give us a way to really think it through, really understand what's involved and how it aligns with you. You could notice your own limitations, your own patterns. You could be aware of where you think negatively about something in your life or something in yourself and say, you know what, I'm really done with that. I don't want to have that ongoing perception. I want to see this differently. I want to think of it differently. Jupiter retrograde lasts for 4 months, ending on February 4th, 2025, where Jupiter travels back to 11 degrees of Gemini. And because it's happening in Gemini, it could feel like a Mercury retrograde. It could feel like a 4-month Mercury retrograde. I can hear you groaning. I could hear that energy sink when I said that. But here's the thing. Jupiter is only in Gemini once every 12 years. So there is a much bigger focus here on the Gemini areas of your chart that need to be changed, that need to be elevated, that allow you to grow and incorporate more of your accumulated wisdom from the last 12 years. So this is a bigger overarching umbrella of reassessment, realignment, and reprioritizing in the Gemini areas of your chart. This means we're going to have to be much more aware of the details and specifics, the words we use, the words we choose, ensuring that what we say is what we mean, and also knowing when to not talk, when to simply listen, when to be curious, when to ask questions, and to not assume that we know. Jupiter is the planet of assumptions and expectations. What are your assumptions in the Gemini area of your chart? What are your expectations? That is what needs to be reworked and reprogrammed, especially if you were to look back on those areas of your life and realize, wow, I made assumptions without asking questions, without gathering details, without having a conversation. Or I had really big expectations that never came through or never showed up exactly as I thought they would. So these are our teachers. These are our 2 key words here with Jupiter retrograde: assumptions and expectations, as well as stepping into the higher expressions of Gemini, which allow us to gather more specific details and information to determine what is accurate. One more thing to note here is that because Jupiter can be so expansive, Jupiter has a big ego. And so this is where it will be necessary to humble ourselves and say, I didn't know that. I didn't have that information. I was wrong. And to communicate that as needed. I think that's going to be one of the big lessons of this Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, is that we're going to have to come back to acknowledge where we were off base, where we didn't have all the information we thought we had, and to allow that to be relatable, right? To be like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry I got that wrong. I messed that up. I didn't see that accurately. Putting aside the ego or the need to defend oneself and one's position is also how this can show up. So we're entering October with big eclipse energies, and we have a focus here on strong air energies and strong water energies. So we will be recalibrating our mind with our hearts, our emotions with our intellect, and finding new higher ways to honor both without feeling like it's that internal battle. It's actually a beautiful integration of masculine and feminine, head and heart, allowing the two to work together and establish that new internal partnership. And one other development I'm seeing this week that I want to touch on is that as of October 5th, Mars in Cancer enters shadow territory at 17 degrees of Cancer. So this means that starting on October 5th, whatever comes up for the rest of the month is going to be connected to a theme that you are emotionally working through into next year. Yes, it's true. And that's because Mars is going to have his retrograde energy back into Cancer and will be traveling retrograde from 6 degrees of Leo back to 17 degrees of Cancer. The energy is finally cleared in early May 2025. So this is your heads up to stay aware of what that Mars in Cancer may be triggering or activating, what's coming up within you that perhaps you didn't realize was there, but it's strong, it's clear, it's very apparent energy that you can't ignore. Mars in Cancer connects us to past memories, past experiences, previous versions of ourselves, especially when we were younger and unconscious. Cancer is a highly receptive energy that absorbs and takes on energies until there is enough life experience and maturity to understand what's going on. So this Mars in Cancer can take you back to previous versions of yourself when you were less conscious, less aware. It can rile up some experiences or situations that catch you out of the blue and you're like, wow, I thought I was over that, but I guess there's more here. Mars in Cancer also relates to family, people you live with, especially your immediate tribe. It relates to the mother as well as the father, but especially the mother in terms of the affection, comfort, and love you did not receive. And this can be attributed to the mother wound. So Mars in Cancer is going to stir up any mother wounding. It could also bring up your parents' early childhood experiences, parts of yourself that have been holding these imprints. Mars in Cancer also brings up our first connections and attachments, whether we felt safe or we had to defend ourselves or be overly protective. There can be extremes with Cancer where you feel highly defensive or you feel incredibly safe. And this can swing you on that pendulum. This could be a very interesting dance at times where you come up to a part of yourself that reveals where you're still defending who you are, and you're needing to reprogram that into greater safety, comfort, self-acceptance, and internal peace. Cancer is learning to trust itself, to trust what you feel, to trust the energies, and to not seek validation or approval from others, but rather know that whatever you're receiving, especially in the moment, is true and accurate. And so we're going to be feeling that. We're going to be feeling almost more instinctual, more emotionally alive, even more emotionally tuned in to the energies in our immediate environments. This can make you more sensitive to where you go. And because Cancer is a home sign, there could be the need to stay home, to not want to go out to travel or to go long distances or to foreign places. That Cancer energy wants to stay in its shell, wants to stay in a known territory and in a place where you know what to expect. So we're going to see these energies not only very alive at an individual level, but also at a collective level. And we'll be talking about this Mars in Cancer even more because the energy lasts for 6 months. So we have some interesting themes here as we move into October, where what is coming up for us, we're going to be working on into next year. That would be one way to summarize this eclipse cycle, also this Jupiter retrograde and this Mars in Cancer. So it can be helpful to adjust your expectations accordingly, to look at where you need to slow down and go easy on yourself, just have more compassion with yourself and with the universe, to just know that it can take time for some things to untangle or unwind, to know that you won't always have immediate answers, but you can trust your energy in this moment and you can connect that you're so beautifully supported in this moment too. And actually on that note, I wanted to mention something because a few of you had asked me about this second moon that is now showing up and is in our gravitational field here on Earth. And the intuitive message that I received, for what it's worth, for those who are interested, the message I received is that the Chinese have a lot of space experiments going on right now. And in fact, they have sent back new photos from the far side of the moon that were released publicly. But of course, safe to assume most of what's going on is not being disclosed publicly, including all of the discoveries that are happening on the moon. The moon is very active, very alive, and inside the moon is where the most energy is as well. Another current event that I wanted to touch on is the port strike that is occurring on the eastern seaboard as well as the Gulf Coast of the USA. This strike is an example of the energies of Pluto in Aquarius and the return to Pluto in Capricorn. Aquarius is associated with unions, groups, complex systems such as supply chain issues. And earlier this year, when Pluto was in Aquarius, is when they had attempted to arrive at a contract agreement, but that did not happen. And on October 1st, the strike began, bringing 36 U.S. ports to a standstill. And this particular union represents over 45,000 workers. And they want two things, two main objectives in their contracts. They want greater compensation and they want job security where they are not replaced by robots. So this is certainly a sign of our times. And as Pluto moved back into Capricorn, Capricorn being about commerce, business, hierarchies, administrators, managers, CEOs, and the real world effects of these negotiations being stalled, or at least a resolution being stalled. There is a formula that says that for every week that negotiations are stalled and no resolution is reached, every week equals 1 month of backlog. And this also leads to rising prices, potential shortages, and a shift in what's available at the store. So they're saying too that with these particular ports being closed, the goods being affected the most are coffee and tea, beverages and spirits, medical and surgical supplies. It also includes wood, vehicles, fertilizers, and other raw goods that are imported. Fruits and vegetables are another significant category, including bananas, citruses, and avocados. So a lot of goods are sitting on these ships and these cargo containers right now, and this is projected to have consequences as early as next week. So we can relate this to the Libra Solar Eclipse regarding contracts, negotiations, and agreements. We can also look at it through the lens of Jupiter and Gemini, because this type of port closure also directly affects truckers, trains, and other transportation options. And Jupiter and Gemini also is about our local marketplaces, our local environments where we go for goods and services. So there appears to be a clear astrological story unfolding here. And of course, let's hold the intention for the best and highest good in terms of a fair resolution that benefits as many people as possible. It becomes quite amazing to see astrology in everything, especially as we connect the dots and observe how these energies are showing up in our real world. With this strong air and water energies, it will be necessary to ground ourselves more, to actively balance our energy fields, to know how to handle more of these incoming waves, especially of big changes. It will be essential to connect to your body, to move your body, to have ways of releasing any stress, tension, pressure, and discomfort. This is where we really apply our spiritual tools and our spiritual knowledge so that we know we can handle this, that we are able to move through these bigger transitional times, and that we are guided in really beautiful ways, especially when we go higher into our soul's wisdom and guidance. Now, I have one other update to share with you, and it's about my upcoming book, Soul Growth Astrology, a workbook for realizing your heart's true desires. This book is released on December 3rd, and we are now offering a second free astrology masterclass when you pre-order this book. So when you order it online, you can then sign up to join a free astrology masterclass where I'll be teaching more about the concepts in this new book. So this is a workbook designed to help you understand more about your astrology chart. It's designed to give you ways to move the energy through exercises and journal prompts, through personal reflection, as well as through client stories that highlight the themes of the 12 astrology signs. So the idea is you go through your chart looking at each planet in each sign, and then you read the chapter associated with that sign to understand how to move the energy forward. This can help you if you're stuck in patterns, if you feel uncertain, if you feel limited, or if you're just looking for new solutions, a new approach to perhaps parts of your energy that are designed to grow. So when you pre-order the book in any format, you can then sign up for the second free masterclass, which will be on December 5th. And it's actually the same masterclass as November 21st, but that one is filled up. We're at capacity on November 21st. So we've opened up a second slot on December 5th so I can connect with more of you and help you with this new information. I'll put the link below the podcast. And yes, there will be a replay if you aren't able to join the masterclass live. So I hope this information is right on time for you, and I look forward to talking about it more with you when the book is released. As always, I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday for a new podcast episode, and wishing you the best as we move through these Libra solar eclipse energies. Also, be sure to check out my YouTube channel where I have videos for you discussing the Libra solar eclipse even more, and I'll be releasing a video shortly on the upcoming Aries full moon on October 17th. In the meantime, take good care, find reasons to feel gratitude, to laugh, to enjoy this wild ride, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.